Hi everyone, David here. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for coming back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Happy New Year as well. I'm uploading this on the 1st of January 2023. Maybe you're watching this in the far future, 2050, and you're the last person on Earth. I don't know. I hope not. But what am I talking about today? Yeah, a few months ago I did one of my kind of cultural presentation episodes. So I talked about perfume, one of my favorite Japanese groups. But today I thought I'd move on to some movies and talk about one of the biggest animation studios in Japan, which is Studio Ghibli. Probably you've heard of them before if you're into movies. If not, then you're in luck. You're gonna find out a lot of information today. They are kind of Japan's premier animation studio, mostly making animated movies rather than series. We've done that too. They are kind of the iconic movie makers in Japan, same kind of cultural imprint as Disney have had in Western countries, I guess, although their approach is very different. I think certainly not like a money-making corporation the way that some other companies are. So I'm going to introduce all that. Hope you like it. If you don't know anything about Ghibli, that's fine. You're going to learn about it. If you know a bit about it, we can get a bit of a deeper dive than you might do from just browsing the movies. Yeah, so let's enjoy it. I've done a little presentation thing again. I'm going to switch to that in a moment. But before I start, I'm not going to talk for long. Please like this video if you can. If you can. Please like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. What was interesting for you? Which movie do you want to see? What was your favorite? And also share this channel as well. So if you have any friends, family, co-workers, pets, anyone who are interested in dipping their toes into Japanese animation and they have Netflix, then send them my way. Watch this channel, please. Okay, I'm going to switch to a presentation thing in a moment. I'll do my little PowerPoint thing. I wanted to use clips from the videos, but I was really worried I was going to get copyright strike and the whole thing would have to be thrown out. So I'm just using pictures, but you can watch a lot of clips on the internet, I'm sure. And I think all of them, apart from a couple, are available on at least British Netflix. Sorry if you're living in Japan. They're very kind of protective of their brand, and they're, I don't know where things get used, but yeah, in foreign countries, definitely UK, maybe America, you can watch a lot of these things online. So please, yeah, definitely check them out. Okay, I'm just going to stop waffling, go straight to the presentation. So see you in a moment. Okay, I think I'm ready to start. I've got my PowerPoint already. So let's take a look into Studio Ghibli. So Studio Ghibli was formed in the 80s by three founding members. We've got Hayao Miyazaki, Isao Takahata, and Toshio Suzuki. Now, two of those you're going to hear a bit more about today because they are two of the main directors for the studio. Toshio Suzuki was mostly a producer role for the company, kind of steering it into financially viable waters and brokering a lot of the deals to keep the thing afloat. Yeah, so there we go. That's Studio Ghibli. They're one of the prestigious animation studios of Japan. There's nothing bigger than that, really. they're kind of the pinnacle. So let's take a look at those directors and see what they've made, and also some of the themes that we can experience if you watch the Ghibli movies. Now, the first one I want to talk about is nature. There's often a strong theme about protecting nature or living in balance with nature, at least. We've got movies like Pompoko where nature's under threat from like human development. We've got to take care of our wildlife. And on the other end of the scale is Princess Mononoke, which is a bit more of a violent edge to nature. Nature's going to come and kill you, so yeah, try and survive in balance with nature. Otherwise, yeah, it's not going to have it otherwise. The second theme is female protagonists. This is in contrast to Disney, who have their Disney princesses. I know they're moving away from that a bit now, but yeah, strong female protagonists are a staple of Ghibli movies, especially Miyazaki's ones. I'd say most of the protagonists of Ghibli movies are female. They're not always kind of flawed characters that need to be fixed. This is male or female, that a lot of Western animations tend to go for as like a story development. That's not always how they play things, so yeah, keep an eye on that. Also flights, especially Miyazaki's movies. He is obsessed with aircraft of all shapes and sizes, whether it's straight up planes like in Porco Rosso or in The Wind Rises, or also other various kinds of aircraft like Nausicaa has kind of gliders and giant airships, things like that. Laputa has kind of weird little flying flappy machines. And even things like Kiki has a broomstick. She's a witch, she flies around. There's even a kind of a blimp in that as well. Was it a dirigible? I learned that word from Kiki. So yeah, check out for flight, especially Miyazaki's movies. So let's talk about the directors then. I've already mentioned Miyazaki a few times, a founding member of Ghibli. He's retired several times, but he is still the kind of the big man in charge of Ghibli. He's produced or directed more than half of the movies, I'm pretty sure, and been behind the scenes quite heavily in most of the other ones too. So yeah, check out Miyazaki, definitely. He's the one who won the Academy Award as well, so that's a nice thing to put on your resume. Got an interesting character as well. Also Takahata, Isao Takahata sadly passed away a few years ago, but he produced some of the other huge works of Studio Ghibli. I think he directed five of the movies they made, and quite diverse as well. We'll look at that in a moment. And also the one who's made, apart from the founding members, Goro Miyazaki, which is Hayao's son, keep it in the family. He's got kind of a rather strained relationship with his father, I believe, but he's made some of the latter day Ghibli features as well, including some of the TV series as well. Again, we'll talk about him soon. So let's take a look at these movies. Miyazaki has made, I believe, 11 movies so far. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the first one, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. This was the first, well, this wasn't actually a Ghibli movie. This was pre-founding of the studio, but because it's got all the main players, everyone pretty much counts it as a Ghibli movie. This was based on a manga that Miyazaki wrote. That's still available. It's got a lot deeper story than the movie could squeeze in. Take a look at the original Japanese version too. Even if it's a later dub, it's fine. Apparently they made a version, like an English version, back in the 80s or back in the day, and they completely changed the story, and it was a complete nightmare. So yeah, definitely check out the original. After that, we moved on to Laputa, Castle in the Sky. For anyone who speaks Spanish watching, this name was changed because Laputa was kind of a bad word in Spanish, I gather. Another kind of action epic movie with lots of flying machines too, and flying island with a castle on it. Another one of the big iconic movies of the canon. Everyone in Japan knows this movie, I guess. And we moved on to somehow even more iconic movie. I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but this really is iconic. Totoro, My Neighbor Totoro. Totoro is a kind of forest spirit, I think, or something like that. He is actually part of the logo of Ghibli, so yeah, how much more iconic can he be? This really shows you the different approach to animated movies that Ghibli makes, or even like Japanese anime makes. There's not really an antagonist, there's not really a particular struggle, just some things happen. It's still got action in it, it's still got kind of emotional weight to it as well. Just watch it, see what I mean. After that came Porco Rosso. No, I think I put these out of order, hang on. Porco Rosso came after this next one, but Porco Rosso was made in the 90s as a short for a Japanese airline. I think it was maybe JAL, Japan Airlines, but they made it into a full movie because Miyazaki can't resist doing that. So yeah, based on a kind of fascist Italy. Not a historical thing at all, because I mean the guy's a pig. There's some kind of magic things going on here. It's not really a very magical movie. It's very kind of, I don't know, cartoonish reality, let's say, of World War II fighters. I didn't think I liked this one that much, but watching it a few times, I've really gotten into it, and it's kind of a low-key favourite. I realised I put Kiki in the wrong order. That came after Totoro. To be honest, this is the second time I've done this whole presentation because I forgot to put Kiki in at all somehow. I don't know how I did that, because Kiki is one of the most famous movies there is. Another strong female character. She's a witch. making her way in the world, as witches do apparently, in this world anyway. Again, another kind of iconic 80s movie. I think this is one of the ones that kind of broke through in America too. It got American release, dubbed as well, so I think people didn't even realise it was Japanese to start with. But there we go, yeah, check out Miyazaki's output. Let's move on to one of the biggest movies he's ever made, which is Princess Mononoke. A bit more of an adult theme, or not an adult theme, but it's certainly a lot more violent than his earlier movies. And this was, I believe, the biggest grossing movie in Japanese history until Titanic, a short while later. Yeah, fairly, I keep wanting to say iconic, but it really is. It's one of the most famous movies, one of the most critically acclaimed ones too. You can see the strong female protagonist there. We've got, what else? We've got the balance of nature. Nature's really coming out to get you this time. Bit of Japanese folklore in there too, so it's more like a historical epic, I guess, but not a real history, I think. So yeah, check out Mononoke. Then of course we have to go on to Spirited Away, which is, I think, again, another high watermark. This was the biggest grossing movie in Japan for quite a while, I think. This was the one that won the Academy Award in 2002 for Best Animated Feature. This is the first time a Japanese movie had won it, and since as well. Again, iconic. We're here again. We've got all these characters that everyone knows so well. We've got No Face, we've got Chihiro. It really was the one that broke Ghibli through worldwide as a anime superpower, I suppose. Moving on from that, how do you follow that, really? I mean, we had to move on to something a bit more mainstream. I think this is a book adaptation. I think Ghibli started to move into more adaptations of Western literature at this point. Howl's Moving Castle, definitely one of those. Was this based in Wales? Something like that. I feel like I'm mixing up the movies there, but I think the writer was a British author, so yeah, check out that. It's certainly very famous as well for kids of a certain generation now. I'm getting a bit older now, so I think it tends to be kids younger than me, like Hal. Ponyo came after that. I really love Ponyo. A bit more of a child-focused movie, but still charming, and has some really chaotic energy about it. Yeah, love Ponyo. He did retire after that and unretired to make The Wind Rises. Probably the most Miyazaki movie he's ever made. It's the fictionalized biography of a Japanese aircraft inventor in World War II, World War One, I think somewhere in the middle. I watched this movie fairly recently, but it's escaping me at the moment. But yeah, this is kind of his love letter to flight, really. You know, that's one of Miyazaki's big themes. Definitely check that out. And he retired again, and that was supposed to be the end, but he's coming back this year. I'm recording this in 2023. In July, he's supposed to be releasing How Do You Live? Adaptation of a Japanese novel, from the 40s, I think. So I don't know much about that novel, so I don't know what kind of movie this is going to be. But we'll see how that turns out in summer. There we go. So Takahata, Isao Takahata, like I said, he sadly passed away a few years ago, but his canon is one of the most memorable and interesting out of all the Ghibli movies. Starting with Grave of the Fireflies, I mean, what a debut. This is a kind of very dark, emotionally impactful story about two siblings in World War II and their story to kind of fight to stay alive during their various trials and tribulations. This was actually released as a double bill with Totoro, which feels an incredible decision to make. When it paid off, I mean, Totoro was one of the slow-burning biggest movies for Ghibli, and Grave of the Fireflies, certainly one of the most critically acclaimed ones they've ever made. So definitely check that out if you can, because the rights to this are owned by different companies, which is why it might not appear on Netflix. But if you can find it, Amazon Prime, I don't know, rent it, find it, some on DVD, definitely check that out. It's a very interesting and important piece of cinema. Going a bit lighter after that, Only Yesterday, the story of I always feel like she's a middle-aged lady, but I think she's in her late 20s, which she's kind of painted like this, almost like an old maid, which is kind of incredible. and she's drawn kind of older as well. I don't know, that's just artistic choice, I guess. But she goes back to leave her, take some time off from her busy Tokyo job to live, to take a vacation with relatives in Yamagata Prefecture, I think, in the countryside, where she gets back to her roots, has some reminiscences about her past. You can get some nice flashbacks to Showa period Japan. Definitely check that out, really love that. Pompoko, following the environmental message. This is the fight for community of tanuki. They're kind of Japanese raccoon type creatures to survive despite the very fast development of Tokyo into the green belt. Famous for their kind of mischievous shape-shifting and unusual use of testicles, which I've never seen in a Disney movie, let's put it that way. I'll leave that for you to find out. After that, another left turn was My Neighbors the Yamadas. This is more like a comic strip kind of vignette based movie. I believe it's the first movie to be completely digitally made by Ghibli, even though it's done in a kind of 2D watercolor hand-drawn style. Very interesting. I like it a lot, but yeah, your mileage may vary. And his final movie before his death was The Tale of the Princess Kaguya, which was a real labour of love. Took a long time to make. I think he was supposed to, well, he decided to retire before that, but somebody really wanted him to make this adaptation of one of the most famous Japanese folklore stories. I think it's one of the oldest stories known in Japanese literature. So definitely check that out. It's a bit lengthy, but it's beautifully done. I think it's done digitally as well, but in this very kind of watercolory, hand-drawn with love art style, which kind of put me in the same mind as the Yamadas actually, which feels like a really weird parallel to make, but there we are. That's just how it looks. Let's move on to Goro Miyazaki, Hayao's son, who took over with the first debut feature, the Tales from Earthsea, which was an adaptation of the Earthsea saga. I think this was by another American author or a British author, I can't remember. To be honest, I don't really like this one. It went on a bit too long. I gather it's quite popular work in Japan, so that's why it was made. But yeah, not my cup of tea, to be honest. But he did redeem himself with From Up on Poppy Hill, a really nice kind of period piece of Showa period Japan. In the 1960s, kind of the excitement of youth. Check that out. I recommend that one. I think it's kind of slept on a little bit. People don't really give it the praise it deserves. And then finally, up to now, the last cinema release of a Ghibli movie was Earwig and the Witch. Another strange one. It was a completely 3D CGI, which is something we haven't seen from Ghibli, which took a bit of getting used to, really, because you can kind of see the Ghibli look, but it's all in 3D, which is, yeah, a little bit strange for me. Yeah, definitely another weird one. This was made for TV as well, so it wasn't really meant as a feature release, but here we are. So there we go. Some other directors did make a few movies too. We'll go on to those now. So Tomomi Mochizuki adapted manga or novel, I think, to make Ocean Waves. This was also a TV movie, but it's got some limited theatrical release too. This is definitely a different feeling to some of the Ghibli movies I'd seen up to that point. The style's kind of there, but there's some interesting direction going on there too. Based in Kochi Prefecture, a very kind of rural end of Shikoku Island. After that, probably the most famous non-regular director's feature, Whisper of the Heart by Yoshifumi Kondo. Was this an adaptation as well? I can't remember. But yeah, definitely a well-loved classic, and the first appearance of the Baron, which in this movie was a statue, mysterious cat statue that the protagonist finds, which was important because the next movie on this list, The Cat Returns, expanded the Baron multiverse. Hiroyuki Morita, I think this was another adaptation as well, but set in this kind of fantasy land where a young girl gets taken to the land of cats. Again, a bit of a strange one in the canon as well, but definitely check it out. After that, we've got Arrietty, based on another British novel, I think. And do you remember The Borrowers? I watched that kind of BBC adaptation, live action show for kids. So this is another adaptation of Arrietty. Hiromasa Yonebashi, he actually made 2 movies for Ghibli. The second being When Marnie Was There, which was officially the last Ghibli movie until they closed their doors for a while to kind of re-establish what they're going to do post Miyazaki. It seems like they're back on again, because Earwig and the Witch was after this. Another adaptation of a children's novel. Yeah, check that out as well. They're certainly a contrast to some of the main director's movies, so yeah, check them all out. Definitely try. Now, you can actually visit some places to enjoy Ghibli in Japan. The first place being Ghibli Park, which is a newly opened amusement park in Aichi Prefecture, close to Nagoya. I'm actually going to this next month. Well, actually, you're watching this in January, aren't you? So I'm going this month, and I'm going to make a video about that, so don't worry. I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to film it, but I'll do as much as I can. So check that out. I believe you need to book tickets if you're a foreigner. You should book them before you come to Japan. Book way in advance as well, because it's going to be very competitive. Same goes for Ghibli Museum in Tokyo, in the kind of Tokyo suburbs, Mitaka, close to the original Ghibli studios. Yes, a nice small museum. You can see original movies that were made just for the museum. You can see the big Laputa statue. You can see a lot of features on the making of. You can see a lot of drawings, things like that, and buy all your merch as well. Yeah, again, book ahead before you come to Japan as well, because I think international tourists, they have special tickets which are only available through travel agents, so please check that out first. You can't buy them on the day. You can't buy them when you're in Japan. It's very complicated. Please search it before you before you make all your arrangements. There are a few other places which are similar to places in Ghibli movies. In some cases, model places. This place, I don't think it's a direct inspiration, but the Takeda Castle ruins in Hyogo Prefecture. It's a castle, well, it's a ruined castle on a hill, but if you go there in a particular weather condition, you can see it kind of floating above the clouds, little castle in the sky. Really have to be lucky about when you go there, so please do your research before you visit. You can't just see it. So it's in a really interesting little valley. The next place, this is actually a real model town for Ponyo, Tomonoura, in Hiroshima Prefecture. Again, nothing particularly special that marks it as a model town, but if you've seen Ponyo and you go there, you can really kind of get that vibe. I think Miyazaki spent a few months there researching when he was preparing for Ponyo, so you can go there. Also, Dogo Onsen, supposedly the model for the bathhouse in Spirited Away. That's in Ehime Prefecture, one of the famous oldest hot spring towns in Japan. Definitely try that. There's more places too. You can go to Taiwan and see the Spirited Away like shopping street where the parents eat the food and turn into pigs. Spoiler alert, sorry. You can also go to Sweden for Kiki. You can go to Italy for Porco Rosso. You go to Kochi Prefecture for Ocean Waves. There's a lot of places that are inspired Ghibli movies, so yeah, check them out if you're a super fan. So finally, I want to go through my favourite movies. So my top 10. From Up on Poppy Hill, Goro Miyazaki kind of gets a nose in. Grave of the Fireflies, it's quite hard to rank them against all the other kind of light-hearted ones, but very important. Pompoko, delightful, very cute, and got a nice message. My Neighbor Totoro, which I enjoy more over time, I think, as I've been rewatching them. Ponyo as well, Miyazaki's there. Just love Ponyo. It's a kind of nice chaotic energy. Number 5, I gave to Takahata. That's Only Yesterday. Kind of a slow-paced one, but very sentimental and really lovely. Kiki's Delivery Service got number 4. Again, lovely, delightful kids romp. Very magical without being strange and off-putting and hard to get into. And nice themes. Laputa has to be my number 3. Action-packed. I still love watching it. It's, yeah, amazing. Spirited Away number 2, that was a hard call, but yeah, full of Japanese folklore, very interesting. probably the one that got me interested in Japanese cinema at all. And finally, number 1 has to be Nausicaa, the original movie for me. And yeah, I mean, it had a big impact on me when I was in university. So yeah, check them all out. I want to know what your best ones are. Leave them in the comments, definitely. So there we go. That's the end of my deep dive. I raced through that because I didn't want like a 50-minute long video. But I hope you like that. Please like this video, subscribe. I'll do more videos like this. Comment what other things you want me to do presentations on. What were your favorite films? What are you going to watch? And of course, share this video as much as you can. I'm trying to expand this channel in 2023, so help me out, please. Thanks for watching. I'm going to leave it there. So take care. Have a nice new year. Enjoy the rest of your holiday if you have any. And I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye.